I did want to bring up Haaland. I know we kind of spoke to Hamza about him, but like Nobbins, 30 goals now for Haaland. This guy just gets better and better and better and better.
Yeah, it's a lovely time to be something like is always backed Hall, and even when people are like, oh, he's only a tapping merchant dealer and all that stuff, like it's nonsense, it's ridiculous. There was that weird period where City was stuff like post World Cup where City were struggling for a period, and this sort of like weird counter narrative came out of because at the start of the season it was Haaland's broken the Premier League, it's not fair, and it's boring now. Give City the title now. After the World Cup, it was, oh, actually, has he made City worse? You know, it was like this sort of like weird counter to it, and sort of like now that's sort of settled down now a bit, and people hopefully can realise that if you actually think that Haaland is the reason why Man City are worse compared to like last season, then you're actually a bit of a moron, to be honest. The man scored 30 Premier League goals. He's already equalled Salah and Van Nistelrooy's record in all competitions. And I'm assuming people are only saying that for attention because they can't actually mean that, surely. I don't think any other club could have a striker like almost definitely break a record which has stood since like what 19 was it 95 where
95 when Alan Shearer equaled Andy Cole's record. So 94 and 95, yeah, they did it, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So he's almost definitely going to do that. We've got 9 games left. He's got to get 5 goals to break it. He's already equaled the one in all comps, so he's definitely going to do it. He scored it was a classic, tap in goal today, and then followed by a gorgeous bicycle kick as well, just to show that he can do much more than just score tap-ins. But again, scoring is the hardest thing in football, and it's a really weird idea that people are trying to downplay someone whose best talent is doing the hardest thing in football. So yeah, hopefully Haaland can keep going from strength to strength. Really good for him to get like 70 minutes because we've got Bayern up next. So him coming back from injury, I was quite happy that he came off in around the 70th minute, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, what's weird with the thing with the Haaland thing is this: I've football fans have been doing this like for a while now, playing down GA, and I understand an element of assist because sometimes you get an assist for a 2-yard nothing pass, and someone scores a screamer, and was it really that important in terms of the goal? No, but then you've got Grealish's assist for Haaland's overhead kick tonight. That's a very important assist as an example. The cross for Haaland's first goal. It's very important. Without that quality cross, then we've kind of downplayed quality crosses and quality balls to, well, KDB just spams it into the middle of the box, hoping someone's going to get their head onto it. So we've taken away David Beckham in 2023 would be called a spammer, as an example. And I think for me, that's the issue I have now. Goals. Remember, the first time I saw goals challenges not being important was when people said that we can't count penalties as real goals. That was when you knew we were on the road to ruin because Bruno Fernandes was scoring penalties. Well, we've got to take the penalties away, though. When we look at players and their quality, we have to remove an attribute. Then I started seeing people say, got to take away people that are good at corners because they get assists from corners, and being good at corners. And I've seen all this be said. And now Haaland is scoring goals. Scoring goals means you're a tapping merchant. That means you're not a good football player. But if what Haaland did was easy, every single fucking striker would do it. And it's got to a point where, honestly, Elon Musk is responsible now. He has to ban these people from having Twitter accounts because it's just insulting, legitimately insulting to football fans for creators and goal scorers to be played down as not as good as players that don't score or create as much or at all. I literally have seen people, tweet things like St. Maximum is a better footballer than Marcus Rashford because he dribbles better. Or I've seen people, I saw someone the other day, I saw said that Isak is better than Haaland. Now, he's a good goal scorer, but because he's got better ball ability. And I'm like, Isak would swap all these talents for Haaland's talents in 20 seconds. Like, football's gone mad. It's actually gone mental now with what we assess as being good and bad,
It's because people really value aesthetics nowadays, so they like things to look pretty and they like to be like moved and feel a certain way, which is all good. Football is all about that. But at the end of the day, if a player does some wonderful dribbling and gets all the way down to the pitch, but then their cross at the end is awful and they actually don't have any output, then it's largely irrelevant. I'd much rather have a functional, effective player than someone who's aesthetic and fun to look at, but doesn't actually do anything, such as, Adama Traore or St. Maximin, who are notorious for not having any end product. So yeah, it's this weird thing of, but he doesn't play pretty.
And listen, of course, Ronaldinho's and R9's and Messi's and Cristiano Ronaldo's, they had the aesthetics and they had the outputs, but that's why they're in a category of their own that they're in the GOAT conversation. And not like 99.9% of professional footballers are never going to be in that conversation, but you can't judge them all by that standard. Otherwise, it's crazy to me. It really is crazy. People still talk about Wilfried. Wilfried Zaha is one of the best wingers in the league. He isn't.
Yeah.
That's why he's at Crystal Palace, and he's not at one of the top 6, top 7 clubs playing in Champions League football, winning trophies. If he was, and by the way, there might be attributes of these players that are top class. Some, I would look at St. Maximin and say his dribbling ability is probably world class. But you don't judge people based on one attribute. You judge them based on everything. And yeah, it's crazy the way football is going.
Can I say one thing on Haaland? Just one thing, Terry. If what he does is also easy, how come all these great strikers didn't break this record then? Like, this record is about to break. You say it stayed there for years, right? So if what he does is easy, how come the great strikers who came in, I want to mention their names because I know people who get all touched and emotional. Why didn't they break it? Why is he coming in his first season where a lot of people challenged him, by the way? Remember, people said he won't get to 15 or he won't get to 10 or he's not going to win the Golden Boot. It's an insult to people like Harry Kane. It's an insult to people like Salah who've been in the league for so long. But look at him now. Like, he's making it look easy. I was coming from the kitchen and I saw that goal and I had to rewind the TV and say, what's going on? Like, it's just the way he's doing things. And then he walks out, removes his band, flips his hair, starts laughing. It's just easy. It's just easy. And I know people are crying out there because they wanted him in their team, but he's not there. Anyway, next is Bayern.
Yeah, that's obviously a very different game. You can kind of, the good thing about being in Europe, it gives you an opportunity to, even as fans, to switch off from the Premier League. You haven't got a kind of, I think Arsenal fans will be watching you. Do you get any injuries? You got this, where you guys can focus on a different tournament, relax a little bit, and that's a big one for you. Are you guys confident that you'll beat Bayern Munich?
Very tough game. Very tough game. Like literally, that's the toughest draw you could have. This is why I've always said, like, Terry, United 99, to have had that draw, come out that draw, beat Inter, Juventus, Bayern Munich, win it in style. I always say that's the greatest, one of the greatest. To have Bayern Munich, the Germans' mentality, they're different. They just built different. The pressure from Bayern is so huge. I would have preferred to face Real Madrid. Bayern Munich, we cannot make mistakes. We cannot falter. We have to take our chances. When you're facing that big opposition, you have to take your chances. If you miss 2 chances I've learned in the Champions League and you play this tiki-taka little thing, you will falter. Because chances against big teams don't come often. They'll give you. You see Real Madrid, when they knocked us out from few chances. To me, I believe this team is different. That back line is the first back line that I fully trust. When we had Zinchenko as a left back, it's way different to having Ake. Ake has been impressive. I don't know what Nobin's going to say, and Patrick. Ake has been impressive. Stones is brilliant as a right back. He can come into midfield. I trust that back line. Thus, in the Champions League, the key to winning the Champions League is not conceding silly goals. We've conceded so many silly goals that's knocked us out of the Champions League. Last year, silly goals being conceded at home. Yeah, giving a handball when you're 3-1 up. Laporte giving a handball. Silly. When Fernandinho got turned. Silly. Things like that. It cannot happen against Bayern Munich. I'm confident the key thing to this game, take our chances and bury them. And just stick together because it's going to be war. Once we go through them, Terry, next game is revenge. It's Chelsea or Real Madrid. Chelsea, we've got to revenge our final. Real Madrid, we got to revenge last year. I think we'll beat those two. Next game, Bayern at home, is our biggest game, and we must deliver.
We'll beat them. Don't worry. We'll beat them.
going to be an interesting one. I really, I know a lot of City fans don't like talking about it, but I do think you guys are really staring down the barrel of a treble this year, which is annoying. But there we go.